the honor of a lifetime for me to have this chance to join the court, to promote the rule of law at the highest level.
President Biden has gone through a thorough selection process to choose a successor for Justice Stephen Breyer since he announced his resignation. President Biden was looking for someone with outstanding qualifications, unquestionable moral integrity, and an unflinching commitment to the rule of law. The president also looked for someone who is dedicated to equitable justice under the law, and who is aware of the significant influence that Supreme Court judgments have on the lives of Americans. Because of this, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was chosen by the president as the next justice of the Supreme Court. So for today's video, here's everything you need to know about Brown Jackson, the first black woman on US Supreme Court. But before we get into it, do me a favor and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button for notifications whenever a new video is published. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. About Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Judge Jackson was raised in Miami, Florida after being born in Washington, D.C. Her parents graduated from historically black colleges and institutions after starting off in segregated elementary school. Both became executives and administrators in the Miami-Dade Public School System after beginning their careers as teachers in public schools. Judge Jackson's father went to law school while she was in preschool. In a 2017 lecture, Judge Jackson recalled how she first developed a passion for the law while doing her preschool homework of coloring books beside her father, as they were both doing their law school homework of reviewing cases and getting ready for Socratic questioning. Judge Jackson was a high achiever who shone during her early years. She was a speech and debate champion who was voted Palmetto Junior High's mayor and Miami Palmetto Senior High School student body president. Judge Jackson, like many black women, had to deal with doubters. Regulatory barriers in the United States to abortion. Judge Jackson's high school guidance counselor cautioned her not to set her sights too high when she expressed her desire to attend Harvard. Ketanji Brown Jackson appointed as first black woman on Supreme Court. Ketanji Brown Jackson, a liberal appellate court judge, overcame a contentious Senate confirmation process and won majority support to be approved by the Supreme Court on Thursday. She will now be the first black woman to serve as a justice on the top court in its more than 200-year existence. Following days of public evidence and weeks of in-depth deliberations in secret, characterized by heated debates over judicial theory and personal observations on racial issues in America, Jackson narrowly won bipartisan approval to become the 116th judge of the Supreme Court. 53 in favor to 47 against, with all Democrats voting yes. 3 moderate Republicans, Senators Mitt Romney of Utah, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Susan Collins of Maine, joined them in supporting Joe Biden's choice despite fierce opposition from inside their own party. For the White House, which had been determined to get a bipartisan nomination, their backing was a good outcome. Stephen Breyer, the 83-year-old senior member of the court's liberal group, will be replaced by Jackson, who presently serves on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. Early in her career, Jackson worked as a law clerk for Breyer. Breyer announced his retirement from the court last summer. At 51, Jackson is still young enough to continue on the bench for years. Her appointment, though, won't significantly change the High Court's 6-3 conservative majority or its ideological makeup. However, it does imply that white males are now in the minority for the first time in the court's history. As Jackson became the first black woman to enter the highest court, Kamala Harris, the first black woman to hold the U.S. Vice President, presided over the Senate vote, highlighting the historic significance of the appointment. With a grin on her face, Harris requested the final vote on Jackson's candidacy. And when the judge was approved, the chamber erupted in jubilant applause. Equal justice under the law. Mitch McConnell, the minority leader, criticized Jackson's record while conceding that Republicans lacked the numbers to block her nomination and pleaded with the judge to adopt the textualist stance of conservative justices. When Biden's 2020 presidential campaign was at its lowest point, he came to an agreement with his supporters that if elected, he would appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court if a vacancy occurred. Her confirmation to the lifetime position fulfills that pledge. The chance came up early this year, when Biden was at another low point and was facing significant domestic and international issues. At the open hearings, Jackson swore to be an impartial judge who would work to make the words "equal justice under the law" written on the neoclassical Supreme Court building a reality and not just an ideal. As the daughter of public school teachers brought up in the segregated South who would go on to become a fare on a court that once rejected Black American citizenship, Jackson described the civilizational journey of her family to the Senate Judiciary Committee in the presence of her parents and daughters. Republicans ran an ambitious campaign against the judge during her confirmation hearings and in conservative media with an eye on the November midterm elections. They questioned her past decisions in an attempt to portray her as an activist judge who is lax on crime. They waged cultural war skirmishes over critical race theory, criminality, and transgender women in sports while airing conservative concerns over prior Supreme Court nominees. Jackson as a public defender. She was commended for her credentials, manner, and especially the calm she showed during several abrasive discussions with conservative senators by Democrats and the few Republicans who backed her. They made an effort to protect her record by pointing out her family's history in law enforcement and the fact that her sentencing record fell within the federal judiciary's norms, as well as by highlighting the support she had garnered from the legal establishment, including from conservative justices. The Senate Judiciary Committee couldn't agree on how to vote on her candidacy, demonstrating how divisive the process of approving a Supreme Court candidate has become. As a consequence of the tie, Democrats used an unusual procedural trick to discharge her candidacy from the committee and bring it up for a vote before the entire Senate has a consequence of the tie. The NAACP called the committee's decision to reject Jackson's candidacy by 11 Republicans as tame. She had one of the closest Senate votes in Supreme Court history in the final vote on her confirmation. Jackson, a Harvard and Harvard Law School graduate, worked for the independent U.S. Sentencing Commission before being appointed a federal judge. This organization determines sentencing standards. Despite having a similar privileged background to the other judges, she stands apart because of her work as a public defender. Thurgood Marshall, the legendary civil rights attorney and the first black justice, served as the court's last justice with prior experience defending criminal defendants. That concludes our video. So, do you think Jackson will bring fair justice in the U.S. court? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Before leaving, don't forget to like, subscribe, and bell for notifications of our future content. With that being said, I will see you in the next one.